All right, thank you so much there, see me there, just to get you along on the program this morning on ITV. I told you that we're going to be kicking starts today with the emergence of Quasi security outfits in Nigeria. It's been something for an expanse of 10 years now. It's been one security outfit or the other. And we still remember the emergence of Bakassi Boys in the southeast, and of course the Odua People's Congress in the southwest. And even in the south here in Edo State, we also have the Izika. You know, all these are quasi-security outfits that we have in our country today. Well, it's good to have them. You know, they complement, you know, security architecture in our country. But the worry is when we begin to have these quasi-security outfits against the conventional security, you know, architecture in the country. It calls for questions to be asked. Well, to discuss all this today, we are so privileged to have Dr. Lugat Sado. He's a lecturer with the Department of Sociology and Anthropology, University of Benin. Doctor, you're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Thank you very much, Evans, and good morning, my viewers. Happy New Year, my Edo people.
Okay. We also have Honorable Vincent Obedi. You're welcome to this program this morning on ITV.
Good morning, viewers. Happy New Year to you all.
And we're expecting Benedict Inaide. When he comes, he's going to take his seat so that he can join us on this program today. And alongside, as we progress on this program, we're also going to be looking at the Edo State House of Assembly issues one more time. Let's see the recent two court rulings, one that was held in Port Harcourt and also the one in Abuja. So what are the implications, even as we expect some other rulings, you know, going by what people are saying, that the last is not heard, talking about the Edo State crisis yet. Well, gentlemen, you're welcome to this program. Just like what I said, that we'll have emergence of security, quasi-security outfits in the country, and the latest of it all is the Metokun. About a few days ago, we saw where the 6 states in the southwest came together, and of course to put together a security outfit. And there's so much credit is being given to Are Onakakanfo, Chief Gani Adams, the Are Onakakanfo of Yoruba land, because it's been said that, as a matter of fact, sometime in August last year, that he held a security summit, and of course he called for this kind of development. Well, gentlemen, let's look at this whole issue one more time. Now, when we begin to have quasi-security outfits emerging here and there in a country like Nigeria, what does it imply for our social existence as a country? I'll start with Dr. Logade.
Thank you very much, Mr. Evans. You know, let's begin by saying that it's not out of place to have quasi-security outfits in a country. Nigeria will not be the first country to adopt that approach, and in any case, the nation has not, from the federal level, adopted the approach. These are responses from states, from regions, in which case now we have the former Western region, now the Western states, coming together to come up with their Motekun security outfit. However, we know that there are several responses to security issues all over the world. The first is the state approach, where the state will establish what you call security architectures, like the Nigerian Police Force, the Customs, the NDLEA, all the 3 armed forces put together, the Air Force, the Navy, and others, to control both internal and external, you know, security issues as it affects the territorial integrity of the nation, and to protect their lives and properties. Now, when that is adequately done, there may be no need for the second, third, and fourth approaches to come up. But you see, in the absence of that, or if the state approach is not effective enough, usually you have what they call the private approach. Now, the private approach does not necessarily suggest that it's only private individuals who are doing it, but that it is not coming from the central pool. It's referred to as the private approach, and that's where we have the responses of the Bakassis, you know, the OPC now, OPC, and the likes.
And even there was one in the north, the G8, sometimes.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, but what we are seeing in Nigeria of late is not the emergence of the traditional vigilantes that we know, where communities come together to carry out what we call community policing. Now, but now we find state agents, state actors, participating actively in establishing what we now refer to as quasi-security outfits. Now, the typical example here is the Amotekun security outfit that is established. It is an agreement among the 6 states in Western Nigeria to come together to solve what they refer to as major security issues in their region. Now, the interesting thing about this is that although unofficially it has the nodding or the support of the Nigerian police force, because the Inspector General of Police is not averse to it. He's not against it. In fact, in his words, they will complement the Nigerian police.
Yesterday we heard that the IG gave a strict warning, you know,
on the issue of arms. On the issue of arms, yes. You see, the state governors, the governor of Ondo State, who is the chairman of the Western Governors Forum, did say that the major focus of this Quasi group is for intelligence gathering. Now, that will make a lot of meaning because we know ourselves. And if community policing is anything to go by, then I think that there is need, based on the antecedents of criminal activities and security threats that we have as a nation. I'm not saying that the police is not working, but we have a lot of gaps. The gaps in our securities are the things necessitating the emergence of this quasi-security outfit. For instance, of late, it's not like we've not been having kidnapping. It's not like we've not been having armed robbery. It's not like we've not been having herdsmen in our country. But you see, it has become monumental, and the damages have grown astronomically. Loss of lives, loss of properties, and yet the response by the state agents, in my opinion, is not satisfying enough to the people. Hence the agitation for state police. Some governors are already rooting for the idea of state police. Some others are agitating that, look, give us rights to protect ourselves. In other words, arms proliferation, give us right to own arms. We should be able to defend ourselves if we have arms. Now, what the Western governors have done is to say, look, let's pull our resources together. Let's complement the police and all the security outfits that we have in the nation. Let's have indigents who will have a regional control but will be responsible to each of their state commands. Let them be on ground to make sure that they are able to mitigate against these issues of kidnapping, against this issue. Of course, you know that the straw that broke the camel's back was the killing of the daughter of...
the Odwa People's Congress daughter.
Exactly. And you see, it was a slap on their faces. In fact, it was an insult on their capacity to protect their own. And of course, we do know that every now and then, when such security breaches happen, there are explanations. Okay. Nigeria, just a moment, Nigeria has become explanatory in its approach to security. What we need, one of the laws establishing the Nigerian police force, for instance, is for the maintenance of law and order and the protection of lives and properties, and then prevention of crime. Prevention of crime is one thing that I think that this quasi-security outfit will be able to do, especially in the issue, on the ground of intelligence gathering. They will be able to forestall possible occurrences, and by so doing, people can go home and sleep with their 2 eyes closed, unlike what the governor said of Ondo State, that in the West now, people no longer sleep with their 2 eyes closed. It is unacceptable.
All right. Now, Ogbere Williams, you see, when we have this kind of situation, when people begin to express their reservations, I think it's born out of people. You just find that people read along the lines. I was actually going through some of the words credited to Gani Adams when he said that the Southwest has been yearning for an outfit that can be controlled by the governors. Now that we have a Mitokun, now it is probably time for the governors to control their own security outfit. These are statements that some people say that no, you don't utter such statements in a country like Nigeria, considering the fact that for some people our unity is a threat. You know, so when we begin to have this kind of development, don't you think that we need to look into our unity, our sovereignty as a nation one more time?
Well, when it comes to the issue of unity, Nigerian unity is just on paper and the lips of Nigerians. When it comes to unity, let's look at the whole Nigeria holistically. If you look at the way things have been done today, look at all the security chiefs. They will have about 90% to one particular region, if not tribe. Look at the way things have been done here. Look at federal appointments and whatever. So the issue of unity, say the issue of, say, because Ametokun or whatever, security, private state security or whatever, being empowered or established, does not have nothing to do with security as far as I'm concerned. The issue of Ametokun, let me just throw some light on that Ametokun, is that for me, it's something that was long overdue, because if you look at the way the system is being run today, my colleague just made mention of the assassination of the daughter of the Yoruba leader. Apart from that one, because he's a prominent person, there are a lot of ordinary Nigerians that have been murdered either by herdsmen or by, what's it called, by Boko Haram, or one by a bandit or the other. Where are the policemen? Where are the military? Where are the soldiers? Where are the Navy and the Air Force? They are not there. They are not there, to be frank, as I said. If you look at there, some okay, say, what's it called, this civilian JTF rescues a number of persons like that. If civilian JTF can do those things for those in the northwest or whatever, why not come up with our security outfit here? For me, I see that according to my very good friend.
Well, you will recall that the JTF is the conventional security. So, are we saying that the government is not also putting that in the south or in the southwest here?
I mean the civilian JTF.
Okay.
The civilian JTF. Okay. So, and this other political, this his bar. They're all doing very fine. So they are doing very fine. So what's up? Because if you look at this whole thing, the Nigerian police, the Nigerian army or Nigerian navy does not understand the terrain of a particular locality, a particular community, a particular state, more than those that stays in that state. If you look at the Metokun security outfit, for instance, the governors have said they are going to use people in those environments to run this thing. They're not going to bring in expatriate or bring in somebody else who does not understand the terrain. If you look at like area like in Edo State, for instance, when issue of Fulani herdsmen were killing people in Odigi and some other communities in Edo State here, the police were not there. The army were not there. People were being slaughtered, raped on a daily basis, or crops were being destroyed. But if you have such security outfits here, not like the one basically talked about, but basically people of Nigerian police, Nigerian soldier, and civil. What do you call them?
Defense.
Civil defense, whatever. State, federal government-owned security outfit. They do not understand the terrain. But if we have our own local security outfits here, who understand the back of my house, who understand the lanes in my area, who understand the streets in my area, who understand the terrain, the paths in my bush, it will be difficult for all these kidnapping, herdsmen, and farmer clash, whatever, to continue and lives to be lost. So now, the security outfit, it will affect the security of the unity of Nigeria. It's not there at all. It's going to complement, it's going to help to assist the police, to do the proper police. Not that the police are not doing their work the way it ought to be, because they are not from here, because they're conversant with the terrain. It's an estate they can go to. So if you have this local security outfit that will help complement the effort of the police to go into the interiors, make arrests, and bring to the police to prosecute. So it will not affect the unity of the country in any form, in any way. Thank God this issue of Ametokun is not a particular state-owned something. Okay, maybe the governor or whoever to visit
it's for a region.
It's for a region, fine. Yeah, it's for a region. It's very good. I will advise every other region.
Yeah, but don't you think it is the sentiment of we against them, or this is for us and that is for you people?
No, that's the concern. Yes, it's we against the criminals. It's we against the criminals.
Well, that's the way you interpret it.
No, that's how I want it to be. If what we refer to as them are the criminals, it's we against the criminals. We have to the civilian jail because somebody can arrest me and hand me over to the police. Okay. So not to post the effort of the police is to make sure to secure, because the primary responsibility of the governors is to secure their property. Okay. But the way it is, the police is not controlled by the governors, they have no control by the governors, the Nigerian lady or whatever by the governors. So that's what we continue to happen. The people are crying, the people are crying, the people are crying. The government is not Philippines. But it's not that, because this problem are able to hit directly. So it is from every man is yes, it's people, family people. She was not also. If I was not meeting with her,
still on independent television. We'll quickly take a short pause now, and I'll be right back. Stay tuned.
The law, as beautiful as it is, can be very, very intricate. So you need a program that helps you on bundle legal issues. Don't get caught on the wrong side of the law. Let an array of articulate and experienced lawyers walk you through your rights. Well, responsibility. Watch Law on You on Independent Television. Your rights, and stay informed. Now you know it is law to watch Law on You here on Independent Television every Monday at 3:30 p.m. West African time. We at More Law and You know your rights.
The Dean, School of Clinical Medicine, Obao Quasi, Sibade College of Sciences, Benin University, Canada, Professor Dominic Osaya invites the general public to the fourth one-fourth ceremony of college, the rather transition of medical students from clinical to clinical class. The event holds on Wednesday, 5th January 2020, the Benin Library Conference Hall, main campus, Okadba, Governor, under the chairmanship of the Chancellor.
All right, thank you so much. There, the program this morning on ITV, and we are still looking at Quasi security outfits, the emergence of them in Nigeria, and we still have Dr. Lugat Sadu here and Vincent Lugbede still on the topic as we discuss along. Gentlemen, one more time, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Doctor, let's go back to 2014 when we have the former President Goodluck Jonathan. Now, we had the security campaign, a slogan, say something, say something. And for most people, that was the most patriotic slogan of that, period.
Yes.
Now, the idea was to, spur people
encourage
into
participation,
being,
yes.
Aware, be vigilant of what goes around in your neighborhood. Now, I'm trying to ask this question based on what Vincent Obede said, saying that it appears the conventional police, they don't understand the terrain that they operate in. Now, some people have also argued that what we are having now in Nigeria probably exists elsewhere, where you have people being police watchdog to the environment and all that. But in Nigeria, there seems to be a difference here. Now, that leads us to want to ask the question, remember the issue of the restructuring thing? The Nigeria Police Force was one main thing that people talked about that should be restructured.
Yes.
So for us to have this emergence of this Quasi outfit now, don't you think is a way of trying to snake in the restructuring thing security-wise to the back door?
Not exactly. Ever before the restructuring agenda started, some Nigerians rather, have been clamoring for state police or regional police. Now, it is not even new. We once had it, the LEA police and the federal government police, which they later collapsed into what we now call the Nigerian Police Force. However, what is happening today in Nigeria is a pointer to something which most Nigerians don't want to talk about. And that is, never has this country been so divisive or divided. People are worried in terms of the unity of this country. My colleague on studio here just said something that if you look at the appointments across our security outfits, you will notice that they are either from a particular tribe or a particular region of the country. What does that suggest? It would imply that some other regions are not seen to be part of the general entity called Nigeria. So in terms of
that's what is responsible for security issues?
Partly responsible. It is partly responsible. Let's talk about it this way. When herdsmen started attacking people all over Nigeria without being specific on any region, Nigerians were sternly warned not to call any particular ethnic group, even though we know the ethnic groups that are herdsmen. And so if you had said that the herdsman who attacked me or who came to rape my wife in the farm is Esan herdsman, let me use Esan as an example, people are going to frown at it. Why are you isolating a particular ethnic individual, an ethnic group? Now, that in itself, you find ethnic coloration on the issue of crime. So Jonathan said, see something, say something. Now in Nigeria, if you see something, you are asked to interpret and re-explain what you saw. So if you see and you say, you are asked to interpret it. So I saw herdsmen. Which herdsmen? The people I saw who attacked us on the road are Fulani people. They were speaking Fulani Fufude language, or Hausas were speaking. No, how are you sure that they are Hausas? All of those explanations required from you who saw something is a pointer to the fact that there is ethnic coloration on the issue of policing and, of course, criminality in Nigeria. Now, what you find at play is that Nigerians no longer have confidence. Some Nigerians rather no longer have confidence in the state apparatus providing security. And so we find people taking laws into their hands. The issue of jungle justice has become a constant in Nigerian society today, because people feel if you take it to the police, they will bribe their way out. So people take laws into their hands. That should not be in a sane society. You could say, for instance, that the governors are doing jungle justice now with Amotekun. That's what some people will interpret it to mean. Do they have the constitutional backing? The question then is, what is the body language of Mr. President. Because in all of this, we cannot take it away from Mr. President. It is his sole singular responsibility to provide security for lives and properties for all Nigerians and across every part in Nigeria. Why? Because he is the president in our constitution and commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That means that everything begins and ends on his desk.
Okay.
So if all of these are happening, it is not enough, for instance, to keep sending Mr. Vice President to go on condolence visits after we have lost souls and lost lives. There is no day in Nigeria that you don't hear of bandits have attacked these people in Zamfara and they have killed 12. Bandits have attacked this, they have killed 20-something. There is no day we don't lose lives in Nigeria as a result of security issue. No, it's important.
Yeah, but let's not say it's an allegation.
I mean on papers.
I mean, for you to say there is no day.
Well, it's subject to review. I stand to be corrected. I stand to be corrected. It's subject to review, but I stand to be corrected. Having said that, what then is the body posture of the security chiefs, the Nigerian police IG, for instance, and of course, Mr. President himself? It is always, we are sorry. It is always, we will try to not, we will make sure it doesn't happen again. But it keeps happening. I say it, that when people die in Nigeria, it is statistics. Okay. Until it is your son that dies, or it is your wife that dies. So we are very good at rolling out statistics that in 2019, for instance, it was recorded that Nigeria lost over 27,000 people to banditry attacks in 2019 alone. Now, we are quick to send condolence messages to other countries who probably lost one soul or two, but every day in Nigeria, life no longer means anything to us in this country.
But again, you cannot say every day in Nigeria. Let us be mindful with the way we say that.
As a Nigerian, Mr. Evans.
I understand that there's no doubt you are
as a Nigerian, Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
Why, until, for instance, the federal government or the agencies responsible revoke, for instance, the right and licenses of our newspapers, who are publishing information as to the deaths that occurs as a result of criminal breaches in Nigeria, I still say that I stand to be corrected.
Not on every day.
Now, I need you to understand this, Mr. Evans. I'm sure.
Anyway, Doctor, let me ask the next question to
that's okay.
Vincent Ogbedi. Now, the whole thing, there's no doubt that both of you support the idea of quasi security outfits in the country. It's laudable, going by what you guys are saying. But the concern, again, is what is the guarantee for them to come to stay? I mean, I still remember when the Bakassi issue was so much in vogue. You go to the southeast, you go to Onitsha in particular, Aba Market in particular, you find people can even boast of it that, look, here you don't commit any crime.
You can leave your money there and you meet it.
The Bakassi boys will take over. Now, before we knew it, it became something that people don't want to hear about, because it was alleged that some miscreants took over the whole thing and they abused it and all that. So what is the fate of this kind of outfits again, this Ametokun? What do you think would be the guarantee that sometime as we progress, sometime as we go on, that this will not be abused?
Yes, you know, the issue of, you can't compare Bakassi with this Ametokun. Bakassi and some other local vigilante, something like that. You know, this Bakassi was like what one or two persons just put together and say, oh, let's protect our region, like that.
The same thing with what we have with Ametokun now.
Ametokun, the governors.
Yeah.
The governors who are in charge of security in those states are the ones that put these things together.
But again, I think we also need to be careful with the way we say the governors, because we have some writers that say that some governors had to back out.
No, they were
6 governors.
Those that were not there, their deputy were there. When it was launched on the 9th, those that were not there, their deputy were there. Somebody was there to represent them.
But it was also reported that they went on personal grounds, not really.
Okay. No matter how we look at it, it's a regional thing. It's a regional thing. Okay. All the governors of that region have to be responsible for the lives and property, to protect the protection of the lives and property in that region. You know, in people like we heard from people like Danjuma and Obasanjo in different fora that Nigerians will rise up and protect themselves. These are people who are close to, who are aware of certain secrets that we might not be aware of. They've restricted the whole thing. They've looked at it, oh, the state agencies might not that they're not able to do these things. Their hands might be tied. They might be under some kind of conditions, or some kind of wait for me to give instruction before you act. Like that. This is what they are aware of. This is, oh, please, Nigerians, if you want to remain alive, protect yourself, protect your life. So this is one way of showing that we have the capacity to protect our lives. So I cannot compare the Ametokun with that of the Bakassi. I want to urge the governors, the Western state governors, to please ask their houses of assembly to pass laws that will back up, that will establish this Ametokun, that will back up this Ametokun. So it remains, that will be sustainable. They should go to court and do all they could to pack it up. So it will be sustainable, to not fade away like the Bakassi and some other things. Like in our Benin here, somebody came up with Segebu or things like that.
We even have Izigan. Izigan is also a Quasi.
Izigan is from the state government, the beginning of
No, it's from the state government, just like we have others from the state government.
The word Quasi since. I don't want to see them as quacks because those will refer to as professionals. I don't think they those will refer to as professionals, and these ones we are seeing as quacks now. What do you
Quasi?
Quasi.
The word Quasi is a common lexicon. When you say Quasi, something that you make outside the ordinary, something that is not conventional. You just do it for a purpose. And of course, when we say Quasi, we are correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're right.
Okay. Let me leave it at that.
Yeah.
Let me leave it at that. So before, even in Edo State here, we have somebody come up with like Osegebu, because it's just an individual thing. Osegebu, okay, try to bring boys together, secure the environment. As at today, I can count of even during that during Christmas period, somebody went to after Barak to fertilize transformer. So this is Osegebu people. Somebody went to before around the Barak area, after Kama Barak to fertilize transformer. It was Osegebu people that caught the person at the Bekeme junction on bike without more cable. The police, they took this person to the police. For persecution. The police, because the police, as I've said before, because the police are not there, like from what do you call, from Aho Junction, no, what's it called, Acme Junction, Acme Junction to Ekema Barak, it's only about to be division. You see the size of the area, from Acme Junction, Ekema Road, down to Ekema Barak, Igo, or whatever. It's only about to be that you have that will control those things, which is too much for the police. So this issue of local vigilante or local policing or whatever that the governors have just brought up in the Western region is something that every other region should emulate, and they should do everything possible, as I've said, meeting the assembly to pass in law and things like that, to back up so it will not just die after like 2-3 years or things like that. But from what I heard from the police boss, that they cannot use their gun, which is not prohibited or whatever.
No, they can use their gun, but
they can only use their gun. They can only use their gun.
Yeah.
Like the hunter's gun. They can only use their gun. What I will beg the Nigerian police force is that if the need be, come close to people, call them, train them on how to use firearm. Train them how to use firearm. They monitor the activities.
But they will need a kind of a legislation to that effect.
They were saying the House of Assembly, the House of Assembly first should pass a law that will back up these people. After doing that, the police will go there and train them. They monitor the activities.
Okay.
If they are not abusing those privileges, let them be.
All right.
If they abuse it, show us proof. Everybody will say, come out and say, no, this is bad. It's like, well, at the time the Bakassi you talked about, at the time they were becoming like, initially they were good. By the time they were not considering nuisance, people say, no, this must stop. Outside the governors and others have to stop and say, no, this must not happen again. So the issue of Ametokun, my brother, I want to tell you I'm 100% in support of Ametokun.
All right,
the governor should do everything possible to make sure that it is sustainable. If you look at the vehicles, all the vehicles were locally produced by No-So Motors. Locally produced by Meluco. There's another way to boost our economy.
Okay. Now, let me come to Dr. Lugard one more time. Now, there is a committee, the Dawn Committee, D-A-W-A-N, Dawn Committee, that is saddled with the responsibility of really making sure that this Ametokun works. Now, some have said that this Dawn Committee has its apron string tied to the Oyo State government. Remember when we had the Bakassi boys? It started in a state in the southeast. I think it started in Anambra State.
Anambra State.
Then, of course, it went to other states and all that. Now, the fear is that there seems to be a tendency for such a group to be controlled by a particular state. Now, this Ametokun, Ibadan, it appears to be that at the end of the day, that your state will just control all that happens in Ametokun and all that. Now, when we begin to have this kind of tendency, this kind of possibility, what is the guarantee? Remember we're still talking about the guarantee for such a Quasi group to stand. What do you think would be the guarantee for it to stand?
In Nigeria as it stands, There are no guarantees. There are no guarantees. You see, a nation cannot produce what it doesn't have. Whatever we find playing out today in Nigeria is a product of who we are. And that's why I have constantly said that there is need for us to carry out a reorientation of the average Nigerian. That means that we need attitudinal change. You see, Bakassi came and failed. I'm not a prophet of doom. Amotekun has come. It's a welcome development, but it's going to fail because it will be manned by Nigerians. And who are these Nigerians? They are people whose cravings and drives, majority of them, are driven by money, monetary gains. So it will not be out of place very soon that they will start mounting blocks like the average security outfit we have in Nigeria and start collecting money and start taking bribes and start freeing people who are guilty and arresting those who are innocent. It is because they are Nigerians. And until we deal with those issues, those are fundamental issues, and you see people shy away from it. That is why everywhere in Nigeria we have problems. For instance, the Senate is busy making law.
Also say, Doctor, let us be mindful. We cannot also say that everywhere in Nigeria we have problems.
Every sector in Nigeria, there's problem.
You cannot also say every sector. You cannot also say every sector. Except I'll take that as an allegation by you
for instance,
or your personal opinion.
For instance, in the education sector, the Senate is busy, for instance, making laws to control lecturers in terms of sexual assault or whatever on students. That's a problem. Examination malpractice, educational sector, blocking and others, educational sector. In the police, Nigerian police force, for instance, it is no longer out of place. Just recently, for instance, the IG has ordered 3 of those SAS men who were bullying a Nigerian to come over, and of course we know that we have those. It is not just that these are stories. The IG has ordered that they be brought to be investigated. Now these are police force members. Again, for instance, was in Borno State where the governor's convoy came across some military men who were collecting money from people, and the man had to raise alarm on that issue. Now these are just some practical examples to show to you that anywhere we find ourselves, we see it as opportunity to make money. That is why, for instance, the average person asks for a kickback if you ask him to move your file from one table to another. Why? Because there is poverty. That's what I'm driving at. There is poverty. And again, I am sure you are likely to say that that's an allegation. I should withdraw it. But you know that we are described as the worst capital poverty in the world. And what that suggests is that there is deprivation. When you talk about the concept of poverty, you have what you might refer to as absolute poverty and relative poverty. In Nigeria, what it at play is absolute poverty. Now, some of those people in Amotekun have just received answers to their prayers. Perhaps they have never worked all their lives and have never earned salaries. And they are looking forward to buying a plot of land, building a house, buying a car, sending their children to good school. They are likely to put their hands into what they should not do. So, just like the Bakassi failed, Amotekun is going to fail, and just like several structures are failing, let me not mention names again in Nigeria, and no matter what you do, these things are not going to be corrected. For instance, the response of government to the issue of corruption is the establishment of the EFCC, for instance, the establishment of the ICPC, for instance. But on if I say daily basis again now, you say that's generalized. You find records of corrupt cases increasing by the day. It is the country that people say that monkeys carried money. Snakes ate money. In this country, people are innovating in the words of Robert K. Merton. They are innovating ways to circumvent the process in order to make gains for themselves. Now, having said that,
because of time.
Yes, having said that, what we need in Nigeria, is not arming ourselves to kill ourselves. Who are we killing? We are killing the average Nigerian who is poor. The average Nigerian who is poor, who is trying to make ends meet. Whether you call them kidnappers, you call them whatever. Why we don't support what they do? They are trying to get money. Beautiful. Nigeria should create a system that works so that we can reduce poverty, create maximum employment for people. By so doing, you may not need AK-47 to fight crime. What you will need is information and empowerment.
Beautiful. Now let's go to Edo State. I told you that will be another part of call. That's another topic we're going to be discussing today on the program this morning on ITV, where we have 2 court rulings, and the most recent of it all is the one we had recently about 2 weeks ago now, the Abuja High Court ruling directing INEC not to conduct another election into the 14 seats of the members, you know, that have not presented themselves for inauguration. Now, gentlemen, you know, just like we had we have two court rulings now. The first one was in Port Harcourt, and of course, the next one in Abuja, Federal High Court in Abuja. Now, as we prepare for Edo 2020, what does this tell about our politics in Edo State? I'll start with Vincent Obede.
Well, the issue of court rulings, House of Assembly. The last time I was here, I talked about the House Speaker suspending the people that have not been inaugurated. I used the word illegality, becoming illegality. You now ask me who was illegal, and I talked about the inauguration and things like that. If I was the court has spoken. The court is the last hope for the ordinary man. So if the court said this is wrong, we have to believe that it is wrong until another court, higher court, will not say no. The judgment was made in an error or things like that. Let me advise the Speaker, Mr. Speaker. If I was in your shoes, what I would have done is I would just be managing my speakership, my position, until maybe another election will come. Because unnecessary abstraction you are trying to drag to yourself might not be the positive type. If you have those people, fine, they refuse to come, and your legislative activity is going on. Just continue with it. So long the executive is okay with what you are doing, just continue with just continue with your legislative processes, and allow the people from those constituencies, people that voted, people where those members are from, that are not in the House presently, let the people there come out and complain. No, we don't want this, or they are the ones that will complain before you, because at the time you come up and say, no, you are suspending it, people want to now test your own, like your position, the rights you have, your legality, how you were inaugurated and things like that. Before the House was inaugurated, when the governor wrote the letter he was supposed to have written to the clerk, which was perfectly done. Then only God knows what happened between the clerk and the other people before the inauguration was not done at night. If your emergence, what brought you to power, happens like that, what you're supposed to do is just keep calm. I don't want to use the word hide your face. Just keep calm, lie low, and continue your processes until the people from those constituencies come up and say, no, we don't want this or we want it. When the people are complaining, and they are complaining, then you know, so because people are complaining, you cannot come up one or two, whatever. People want to listen to it. But in this case, I don't think the Speaker, as it is now, has a legal right to suspend those people. And moreover, you cannot declare the seat of somebody that has not been inaugurated vacant. Okay. So I don't know where he is getting this thing from.
All right, let me just continue from that. Now, viewers out there, you will recall that we've been following this whole story and all that. And of course, we read also whereby the Speaker of Edo State House of Assembly, Michael Kiye, had to take the case to the federal courts in Port Harcourt, requesting INEC to conduct another election. And of course, another ruling was heard in Abuja, stating that the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly is a party in the suit. Then, of course, he cannot request INEC to conduct another election. That was the last ruling that we heard from Abuja. Then we also read whereby the lawyer to INEC, who is a part of the case now said that they would prefer to remain neutral. They will play on the ground of neutrality because they were not given an affidavit, except the oral affidavit that they presented. So the presiding judge that they now said that the INEC lawyer had to go and write a written affidavit saying that they will remain neutral. So that has led to the postponement of the hearing, which is built for the 28th of this month of January 2020. Look at Sado.
Well, I think that, like you noted, the hearing has been fixed for 28th of January. I think we should wait. We should wait. We shouldn't preempt them. We know my issue is not with Okiye, it's not with the 14 members who have refused to be sworn in.
But what do you make of the Speaker, Michael Kiye, now taking the case to the court when his own seat is a bone of contention?
He probably didn't see it that way until the court showed that to him. Now that he knows, I'm sure he will act differently. Yeah. he probably felt that he was representing the State House of Assembly, being the Speaker, and that it was under his power to decide whether certain seats should be declared vacant or not.
Okay.
And he didn't just want to do it arbitrarily. He wanted the backing of the law and went to the court for the court to affirm the position he took. And in Port Harcourt, the court affirmed it. But now in Abuja, the court is saying no, that since you are a party to it,
you cannot
be the one to. So let's allow the process. My only worry, for instance, like I've always said, is the way and manner our judgments come. These judgments are coming from high courts, two high courts, from well-respected judges. Are they using different laws? Are they using different constitutions? How come, for instance, the judge in Port Harcourt didn't see it from that Abuja's perspective? And how come, for instance, the Abuja is seeing it differently from that of the... So I think that it is high time we started requesting that our judiciary be just, and if you like, be very sincere in their distribution of justice. Because in my opinion, I think that this shouldn't occur. For instance, if the judgment coming from Abuja was from a higher court, then I will understand. But that courts of the same level having contrary judgment on the same matter is disturbing.
All right,
it's disturbing.
Vincent Ubedi, I want to also bear your mind on same courts of the same level having contrary judgments.
Yes, that boils down to Nigerian factor, what we call Nigerian factor. The other time we were discussing about Bakassi, we talked about people using their position as opportunity to get money. You know, in Nigeria, it's possible, I stand to be corrected here, it's possible to buy judgment. That's just the basic truth. So if, for instance, we are using the same law, as we've said, Court A and Court B are supposed to use the same law to pass judgment on a particular issue. But that's still better to another thing is that, in court, whatever your lawyer presents, if the lawyer is the person that will tell the judge, that will point out the areas of the law that will enable that will make up how the judge will put the whole thing together and pass his judgment. So it depends on what the lawyer that defended the case in Port Harcourt said to the judge, and the one that defended the case in Abuja said to the court. That can also influence the way the judges will pass their judgment. But having said that, it is, I don't want to use the word disgraceful because on air there are certain language you're not supposed to use. It's very disgraceful for in one particular country, same court, same judge, using the same document, using the same constitution, using the same everything put together, using the same what it takes to pass a judgment, to begin to see one particular issue in different perspective. It is very, very wrong. Until we correct this, I don't think this country can move forward. Because the way it stands today, I can decide to go to any court where I'm close to either the judge or one or two persons like that, and say, this is what I want. At the end of the day, they'll give it to me. Tomorrow, you go to another court on the same matter, because you are close to that, this is what I want. So I want to beg the states, the federal or state government who's in charge of the court, to please call those judges, make sure that they are treated
the federal government this time, they are the federal high courts,
So make sure they are treated the way they ought to be treated, so that nobody can come and bite their conscience. Nobody can come and manipulate and say, oh, do this for me or things like that. Because what they are doing is they are just playing with the life of the ordinary man, using the life of the ordinary man outside there to play politics.
Okay. Now, Doctor, let us postulate with the future of this case we're looking at now. On the 28th is just about some few, maybe 1 or 2 weeks from now, and we're going to hear the court's hearing. Now, if on the 28th, the INEC lawyer, the lawyer to INEC now gives his affidavits in written form.
Yes.
What do you think will be the outcome of the judgment? Let's just postulate. I know you are not a lawyer, but let's express our thoughts.
Like you rightly said, I think that if INEC plays neutral, in which case INEC is supposed to be the one pursuing this case.
And that's their position now.
The judgment of the court, from the judgment of the court in Abuja, Okiye is a part of this case. So it has nothing, it shouldn't be seen It
calling for a re-election.
Yeah. The umpire should be the one calling for re-election. And the umpire is saying that they are neutral. Neutrality in that case would imply that they are not on anybody's side.
So what do you think would be the outcome?
Then I think that what that will imply is that INEC will probably say, let the law speak, let the book speak. If this is this, what is the interpretation? I'm sure that's where INEC will ask the court for interpretation. Why they are not asking the 14, the seat of the 14 to be declared vacant, and they are not supporting the speaker either, they are going to rely on the books. What are the laws, the regulations of INEC?
And the laws of the books, I'm not a lawyer, but I've read that just like what the spokesman for the 14 lawmaker said, that if you go to the rules of normal court orders, if you are a party to a suit, you cannot call for an election. In the case of Michael Key now. So if the lawyer on that day says that let's go back to the rules, let's go back to the books, it then shows that we may not have a solution to this whole issue. Vincent Ubede.
Well, as my colleague have said, I will also advise that we'll go back to, because I believe there should be a provision for incidents like this in our constitution. If a member has been sworn in, either by death or by sickness or one thing or the other, is unable to carry out his duty as a legislator, the seat might be declared vacant. But on the condition that this person was never inaugurated, there should be provision for that. People that were never inaugurated, either they were kidnapped or before the inauguration they fell sick, or before the inauguration they died or something like that happened. There should be provision for that in our constitution. So both the House of Assembly, both the judge or whoever wants to talk about the issue should go to the constitution and look at the provision for that. If there is no provision for that as at today, the federal legislative should be able, the Senate and the Green Chamber should be able to put one or two things together and say for future occurrence, because this might not be the end. It may happen one day in another state. Be able to bring not a law and say, okay, if something like this happens, how do we go about it? Then they will say what we're supposed to do. But in my own case, what I want to advise, if I was in position to determine what happens, I will allow the people in that constituency that they are representing to come out and say, please, it can't remain like this. We have nobody to cry to, nobody to air our view in the House of Assembly. Please, we don't want people come out today, tomorrow to protest or things like that. People will get on the government, federal government will listen to them. The INEC will listen to them, because you cannot deprive them of their right. It's their right to be represented in the House. So if after about 8 months or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken, or 6 months, I think.
About 7 months now.
6 months like that.
From June.
So if since that time till now they are not represented, they don't have anybody to go and air their view to tell people their pains and tell them what they want and things like that. It's like they're being left in the dark. It's like they're not part of the system anymore. So the people should, unless they are okay with it, unless if the people in the constitution, if they are okay with it, they should remain the way they are. And if they are not okay with it, they should come out and cry. They should protest. It's the only way you can protest. Is the only way the ordinary man can air his or her view.
That's this constituencies.
Each constituency, yes. You come out and say, oh, Mr. House member elect, come back and do this. Or if you know you cannot come, we want somebody else. So if the person, the member elect, to be frank as he said, you are not representing yourself there. You are representing people. If on any ground you have issue with maybe the governor or your party chieftain or some elements in your party, you are representing the people in your constituency, both the APC, the PDP, the PPA, the CPC, the Labour, the whatever. You are not representing your party member in your constituency alone. Okay. So for that, whatever happens in your party should not affect the life of people in your constituency. Okay. So what you need to do is that if you cannot go there and represent them, you back out, let the people bring somebody else who will represent every other person.
And I think that seems to be the position of the People's Democratic Party, the PDP on this issue. The PDP is saying that, look, if you guys cannot settle this matter, now, instead of calling for a rerun, let us bring our guys. At least our guys were second runner-up in the election. Let us bring our guys in. You swear them in, and they continue from there. Because the PDP is saying that as at the time, the Nigerian constitution, a lot of people say a lot of things about it. Now, it seems that it's been said that it was not envisaged that a time will come that some persons will be voted into an office and the person will not present themselves for inauguration. Yes. So the PDP is looking at that. Okay, since that seems to be an issue in the constitution, ordinarily, it is lawful to say that let our members, our guys, be the way the second runner-up in the election. Let them be voted. I mean, the sworn in. So, what do you make of that, Logat?
Sounds a little bit funny. Since certificate of return has been given already
to the
elected
members,
there is no way those who took second will now be presented another certificate unless there's a ruling from the court. Now, I think that this is still a legal battle. We have not seen the end. Whatever it is that will transpire, for instance, April 28th, if our constitution allows it, I'm sure they will go to the Supreme Court to ask for further interpretation. And of course, until there is a legislation on ground in terms of amendment on the Constitution, the Supreme Court has a right to, you know, look at some of those issues and provide direction.
And do we have the time? When the Supreme Court, we're talking about those states, we have elections.
That's
why
I said that the legal
resources are being spent. Can we afford to face all this?
When you say we, who are the we?
The people of Edo State.
It's not us. It's not us. The only problem, for instance, is that those constituencies are not being represented.
No, it's after you are here, you are talking about this now, so you are concerned.
No, but so what I'm saying in essence is this. It's a distraction, and it's a good distraction if you like. If you like, it's a good distraction because it means that people are thinking. People are not just accepting anything, and people are ready to ask questions. And I like the fact that questions are being asked, whether it is the 14 members who are asking questions or it is Okiye-led House of Assembly asking questions. But questions are being asked. What is yet to be seen is for the Edolites to ask questions, for independent Edolites who may not have any stake in this, I mean, who are not parties, for instance, in this problem, to take the matter to court. For instance, I'm from Edo Central, and my own constituency, my own, the person representing us hasn't been sworn in. So I should be able to say, why have you not been sworn in? And then we can rally around ourselves to say, okay, it's not enough to protest or demonstrate. We can go to court to say that, look, this is the life of every every House of Assembly. It's for 4 years. And for about 1 year now, we have not been represented. Why is Okiye not swearing in our man? Inaugurating our man. Okiye says, I'm ready to inaugurate your man. Your man is not making himself available. We go to our man. Why are you not making yourself available? It's not about you. You have to represent us. Yes. And he says, these are the reasons. We say, okay, we're not comfortable with this. We have a meeting and we take a decision and we go to court to say, court, this is our decision. This is our position. Until that is done, just like he said,
same way the court process.
But you can't recall someone who has not been sworn in. You see, that's the problem. The gaps in the Constitution are being exposed. That's why I said that the Supreme Court will still have a role to play. But you see, all of these may not be resolved from the court perspective. We can resolve these with dialogue. That is why I said on this platform several times that we've been here that there is need for reconciliation. Whether between Okiye and the 14 or between Obaseki and Oshomole, because that's what is playing out in all of this. There is need for us to come together because in all of this, it is the Edo people who suffers. In all of this, we are wasting state resources, we are wasting state funds, we are wasting precious time. Those 14 persons, I'm sure, have very good ideas that can move Edo State forward. Their ideas are not being seen, not to talk of being used, because they have not been inaugurated.
Okay, listen to Ogbede now, just because of time now. He talked about people in these constituencies, they don't ask questions. Perhaps you may want to say that our political sagacity, our political socialization is questionable. You just find people, they are reluctant. They don't even know what, they probably don't even know. They don't want to know and they don't know. So what do you think? I want you to bear your mind on this. I mean, talking about these constituencies, people not reacting and they seem to just lay back.
Yes, the truth is that the ordinary Nigerian, ordinary Edo man believes that those who are going to the House of Assembly are going there for themselves and their family.
And that's a big problem if we have that kind of mindset.
Yes, it's a very big problem. Because if you look at the whole scenario, the number of APC members in each of these constituencies is no more than 40% of the total people that make up those constituencies. So if you are to represent 100 of us, and you have issue with your party that is made up of 40 persons, the remaining 60 will just fold their arms and be watching, because of that orientation that, oh, they are going there for themselves. But the truth is, the people, as we said, they are not showing interest because they are not aware of certain things. They don't know what they stand to benefit if they have the right person representing them. They don't know what they are losing because the person that is representing them is not there to represent them. In another way, even when these people are there, I'm showing you why people are not saying anything, why they are being quiet. Even when these people are there, they are not even accessible by the ordinary man. So the ordinary man look at it, since people are not accessible, they are not there for me, they are there for their friends and their party chieftain and things like that. What would I be killing myself for? And more of our properties are under thing there. My colleague just said he will go to court because of president, they will go to court. How many Nigerians have the financial muscle to, after feeding his family, pay bills and things like that, still have enough money to go to court?
All right, we'll just stop it there now because of time. We'll stop it there because of time, because we have other segments on this program today. A very big thank you to Dr. Lugats. Always exciting time when you come on the program. Please keep it up. And extend the handshake to Honorable Business.
Thank you.
Well, we'll take a short pause for insurance segment to come your way on the program today. Please stay tuned.